Let's start with something that's actually going right in the gaming world. Indie and smaller game studios.
100%.
Why-
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are just talking about them earlier. They're gonna hold the fucking fort for gaming. They have been for a bit now. The last maybe 10 years. Dare I say?
While a lot of big AAA publishers often disappoint,
Fucking
most
header.
indie developers
Because now everyone's shook. I think everyone's, well, at least tiptoey around AAA titles. Unless you know it's like fucking Rockstar. Like, Rockstar. Who else? Maybe From Software, if you love them games. But, I don't know. CD Projekt Red was, but Cyberpunk altered a bit of people's perception. It was a bad launch for console players. But who else? Who else is there? There ain't. So everyone's hesitant when the game comes out, when it's AAA.
have been stepping up
For
with
70
innovation and creativity. In the last video, I praised Pal World for scratching an itch we've been waiting years for Pokemon to scratch. That's the power of these smaller studios. They're not tied
And
down.
do you know what's so fucking crazy? What's so fucking maddening as well about the whole Power thing? Because Nintendo recently is trying to sue them. Indie on top, try 20 years. That's what I'm saying, bro. Yeah, and possibly to hold us again another 10, 20 years, bro. 100% they're holding. But this is what I want to play, Crow County. I couldn't find it anywhere, but this one I'll probably purchase. What was I saying? Fuck, I forgot what I was saying. Oh yeah, the Power World thing. Yeah, with Power World, bruv, it's so fucking crazy because Nintendo are so fucking evil. They're trying to sue them. What they done is, after Power World's success, right? Nintendo then went out and made the patent about the ball, because you know that's the lawsuit now, or that's the problem with Nintendo and Power World. They're saying, "Oh, you're using our patent, which is where you throw the ball and it captures the object. That's our patent." And the real secret is the truth is, they made that patent after the success of Power World. The fuck's that about? Fuck Nintendo.
Corporate greed. They can take risks and create experiences that truly resonate with the community. We all want to see companies like Nintendo flourish. After all, they gave us so much of our childhood with their iconic games.
They're dickheads. Nintendo, Disney, Ubisoft, all same face to me. Yeah, 100%, bro. And just earlier, before you popped in, I was saying, like, before Ubisoft used to be quite good, I used to like them. Splinter Cell, that was amazing. I think Prince of Persia as well. And even the earlier Assassin's Creed. Far Cry 3, classic. They used to be good, but then they're just like, they become shit. Shit. Even Activision, they used to be decent, then when I see Activision, all I see is like Call of Duty. Do they still do even Call of Duty? And then I just go, oh fuck, oh no, and just look away, run. I don't know what game they make, it's just Call of Duty.
But here's the problem. They've become the exact thing their games often paint as a villain. A greedy corporate empire stomping on the little guy. Just
100%. See the bars of that guy?
look at how Nintendo is handling Pal World. Instead of seeing it as healthy competition or even inspiration, they chose to sue the developers over patents that Nintendo only released after Pal World came out. That's corporate greed at its finest.
That's proper evil. Nintendo, you fucking evil bastards. That's evil. And definitely, I think Asmon I was watching, talking about the lawsuit and the bullshittery. Definitely there'll be someone in Pokemon, in the Pokemon studios in Nintendo, who's working on Pokemon, the new Pokemon games and that. Yeah, he'll definitely be going, see, that's the sort of game that they want. I was telling you should make one like this, like that, sick. Told you. And they would have probably fired him, 100%. And then for them to go see the success of Power World, which should have been Pokemon, bro. If Pokemon was anything like that, it doesn't even have to have the guns, but just serious like Power World with the Pokemon, brav, insane battles and that, brav. Everyone wants that. Like, and if Pokemon do it, it will still sick. It will sell. Anything that comes out in this Pokemon, it will sell. That's what Nintendo got. That's the power that they have. Like, Pokemon's global. Everyone knows fucking Pikachu. Even my nan used to know Pikachu. But fucking hell, for them to go see the success of Power World and then make a pattern on the ball throwing mechanic. You fucking evil bastards. I remember there was the early times, the flourishing times of gaming, bro, where any new mechanic was all put into the pool of gaming, so games flourish, you know what I mean? Not patenting and gatekeeping certain fucking mechanics. Like, that's extremely lame to me. That literally talks and points to the human condition. Like, look how fucked humans are. Look at that. They gatekeep even things that could help us flourish. We all have that knowledge. Let's go to the next stage. No, I want to gatekeep it. You bastards. I need to piss, but I'll play it.
It's just about competition, it's about creating an environment where creativity can thrive. These indie developers are a beacon of hope in a landscape that can often feel dominated by cookie-cutter sequels and franchise fatigue. Rather than fostering creativity, big corporations are trying to squash it. It's ironic because the developers of Palworld obviously have huge respect for what Nintendo has done in the past. You can see that respect in the same way they crafted a world reminiscent of Pokemon, but with a fresh creative twist. And guns. It's sad to see a company that is so loved by so many people now playing the role of a villain.
A man chooses.
It's 100%.
Slave obeys.
Now, I want to talk about a sensitive topic. Politics in games. Here's the thing. Games are made by humans, and humans have worldviews. So naturally, politics are going to seep into the stories and themes. The issue here isn't whether or not games should tackle political topics. It's how these themes are communicated, and whether they serve the story and gameplay. Spec Ops The Line is a perfect example of how to do it right. For those who don't know what Spec Ops The Line is, I do recommend that you play the game, try it out for yourself. It is one of the most original
Witcher has like a deep political lore but within its game. And even, what was it? Oh, fuck, I said it earlier. Oh. Metal Gear Solid.
provoking games I have ever played. I will.
But now, sorry to pause. Nowadays they've got a different sort of fucking bullshit in there. They've got a different sort of politics. They got the transgender fucking sexual orientation politics is infiltrating. Fuck.
I'll be spoiling the game now to bring my point across, so if you really want to play the game and do not want the game spoiled for you, I would recommend jumping to the time as shown on the screen. Spec Ops The Line weaves deep political and moral themes into its gameplay, like the morality of war and the psychological toll of violence. It does this without ever feeling like it is pushing a specific agenda. It doesn't stop the game to lecture you at any point. Instead, it allows you to experience the consequences of your actions firsthand, leaving you to reflect on the emotional and moral weight of your decisions. That's how it should be done. Similarly, Deus Ex Human Revolution tackles topics like transhumanism and corporate greed, but it does it in a way that allows you, the player, to explore these themes on your own terms. The world is complex and your actions influence the outcomes. It's political, yes, but in a way that respects the player's intelligence and choices. On the flip side though, some modern AAA games miss the mark. Take Far Cry 6 for instance. While it clearly aims to tackle issues like authoritarianism and revolution, the way it handles these themes often feels heavy-handed. Instead of letting players experience and interpret the world for themselves, it hammers home its messages in a way that feels disconnected from the player's agency. The narrative loses subtlety, which takes away from immersion. Now, I mentioned player agency, and for those who don't know, player agency is the degree of freedom the developer gives players to chart their own path through the game. The key isn't to avoid political themes at all, it's to weave them into the fabric of the world in a way that respects the player's experience. Games like The Witcher 3 do this brilliantly, where social and political issues like class struggles and prejudice emerge naturally from the story and the world. You're free to make decisions based on your own beliefs without being told what's right or wrong. This empowers players to make their journey feel personal and impactful. There's a lot of videos and a lot of voices out there saying that there's no space for politics in games. I think what a lot of people are saying is there's no space for you to shove your ideologies or your agendas down my throat. And I agree with this. We can share political themes in a very subtle and thought-provoking way without forcing it on a player. And
That's 100%
there
the
are
way.
a lot of wonderful examples of this out there. As we shift our focus again, let's talk about another frustrating trend in gaming: the growing laziness among developers. It feels like we've reached a point now where it's expected that a major release will always come out buggy, unfinished, or lacking core features,
That's what we're
only
saying.
to be patched over time. This
what we're
wasn't
saying, my
always the
brother.
case. Back in the day, games launched on CDs or DVDs as complete products. When you bought a game,
100%.
you knew it
Even
was ready to
cartridges,
go
brother.
right out of the box. There was no expectation that you'd have to wait for a series of patches just to make it playable. Of course, there's always been a place for alphas and betas in gaming, especially for indie developers. These teams are often working with limited resources and smaller budgets, and they genuinely need the feedback from early access players to
That's
help
true, yeah.
refine their game before a full release. In those
Yeah.
cases, early builds and community-driven
There's no
bug
problem
testing
with,
makes sense.
early access.
Indie games are passion projects, and the devs don't have the luxury of massive QA teams like AAA studios do. The alpha and beta phases serve a valuable purpose for them, allowing gamers to help shape the final product.
To this madness, what is this? Rimworld. What's going on here? What's Snibs and Moo and James and Poo Poo doing? What are they up to? What's going on here? What a charming little thing. Crazy, it's the 1st of July. Jugist? It's like a weird August. Jugist. Gulgist.
But when it comes to AAA developers, the biggest studios with the biggest budgets, it's hard to justify the current state of things. These companies have huge teams, enormous financial backing, and years of experience in the industry. Yet more and more, we are seeing them release games that feel unfinished, riddled with bugs, and sometimes completely broken on launch. It's like going to a bakery, buying a loaf of bread, and finding out it's half-baked. Then you're told to come back in a few weeks, a few months, or even a year,
The fuck? How? What the fuck was that? How was he walking like that?
so the baker can finish cooking it. That's basically what we're dealing with in the gaming.
He's doing the scorpion, bro. That Colombian goalkeeper. He's doing it. My guy's a genius.
World right now, and it's become the
Man said the next Pablo.
norm. Take Cyberpunk 2077 as a prime example. This is one of the most
What's going
highly
on?
anticipated releases of the decade, with CD Projekt Red being a beloved studio after their work with the Witcher series. But when the game launched, it was a disaster on many platforms, especially consoles. Cyberpunk
Jesus
was
Christ.
riddled with glitches, crash
My main shits that I used to have on launch of Cyberpunk was like glitches in the game, so shit will be floating. Sorry, my phone. The shit will be floating. Oh fucking hell! The shit will be floating and random shit will be happening. A little bit, and characters will T-pose. That will happen. And I had like a few crash the desktops. A lot of these I didn't have. I'm supposing these are probably like PS4.
crashes and performance issues. The
God
game wasn't
damn.
just buggy, it was borderline unplayable for a large portion of the player base. CD Projekt Red had to issue multiple patches
That's
playable for a large portion of the player base. CD Projekt Red had to issue multiple
that's
patches for
hilarious.
several months to fix
They had
basic
a lot of this.
functionality, with some of the game's promised features
Yeah,
missing
none of this.
entirely
This is
at launch.
bad.
And this
This is terrible. Look at that.
wasn't a small indie studio. This was a massive AAA developer that had years to get it right. I am glad for the redemption story that Cyberpunk has now. I thoroughly have enjoyed the game myself.
It's great. It's fantastic. But that's what I'm saying about what we were saying earlier about who do we trust, bro. For me, in truth, there's one. There's only one Rockstar. That's it. That's it. That's the only one, and that's the one I'm gonna have to buy a PS5 for. I'm gonna have to buy a PS5 just for that, because I can't wait, bro. I can't. I swear I can't wait a couple of years till it comes on PC. While watching man them play it, nah. It's gonna be hard. It's hilarious, bro. Some of them, like as well. Granted, some glitches are funny, but some are just like fucking annoying. You know what I mean?
I just wish that it didn't launch in the state that it did. The thing is,
Yeah,
we as
that's the
gamers have
shameful
come to
thing with,
expect this. We pre-order
Cyberpunk.
games knowing full well that
And you know what? CD Projekt Red was one of them for me, personally. It was there with Rockstar. Two gangsters. The two last gangsters. Probably From Software as well, because From Software, since they done like... from Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, like amazing. Now Elden Ring and like... I think Elden Ring's the last one, isn't it? I'm not sure. But yeah, they've been on a good track record and they're like reliable. So I'll put From Software there, Rockstar there, and I used to have CD Projekt Red there. I still kind of do, like in brackets, but not on the trust thing. You know what I mean? Although I didn't experience a lot, but I do. You know, I know that a lot of people did have that, and when we saw them, it's like shocking. It's like that's unredeemable. Not unredeemable. It's just like it's fucked. It's like No Man's Sky as well. Like when I streamed Skyrim and that dude was just planking on the floor. Oh my god. Hilarious, bruv. Absolutely hilarious.
they might not be working properly on day one. We accept that the game we paid
He's a
full
magician.
price for might not be fully functional until weeks, even months later. This is
He's a
especially
magician.
problematic when you consider the fact that many of these games are being sold for $60 or more at launch.
Yeah.
Patching and updates have become a safety net for developers to release half-finished games. And while it's true that no games will ever be perfect, especially when it comes to complex systems, it's also true that we've seen a
Wow, what's going on here on Red Dead? What happened? Me, I never experienced, not a glitch, only, I don't know, maybe a couple of weird bits. I don't know. Really, honestly, I don't remember.
drop in quality
A lot of
control across
glitches.
the
It
board.
was
Bugs that
amazing.
should be caught during testing phase are making it into the final release. And rather than taking the time to polish a game before launch,
He's right, though,
developers
they are
rely
getting
on
lazy.
post-launch patches and updates to fix
Look.
what should have been addressed earlier
What are
on.
they doing?
There's no doubt that games have become more and more complex and ambitious over the years, but it doesn't excuse the laziness that's crept into AAA development. When you're charging players top dollar for a game, you have a responsibility to
My
ensure
bird's
that
coming
what
back.
you're
I'm gonna have to go
delivering is
eat
as
my
close to
father's.
finished as
Gonna
possible
go
on
get some
launch.
din-din.
Patches should be used for minor adjustments and unforeseen issues, not to fix broken core mechanics or game-breaking bugs that should have been caught during development. As
Yeah.
gamers, this is another trend that we've become way too accepting of. We've normalized the idea that buying a game at
That's-
launch means being a
That's special.
beta tester for a product that should already be complete. This is a shift in the industry that we shouldn't have to tolerate, especially not when we're paying full price for these games. Studios need to take more pride in their work, deliver the polished experience they used to, rather than relying on patches to fix what should have
Just
been
throw it
right
in.
in the first place. At the end of the day, early access and unfinished products do have their place, where smaller teams need the extra time
Yeah.
and player feedback to refine their game. But when AAA companies are releasing half-baked products, it's not because they don't have the resources or talent. It's because they've learned that they don't have to get it right first time. As long as gamers
Yeah.
keep buying, they can fix things later. And
Yeah, and that's the shit thing. That's the shit thing. We can only vote with our wallet. That's the only thing. Just don't buy it.
that's a trend that's doing a real disservice to the gaming community. Now I want to talk about something
Yeah.
quite crucial. The reason all of these issues exist, from the half-baked games, the lack of innovation, to the increasing presence of cash grab mechanics, comes down to one simple fact. We, the players, vote for the stuff with our wallets. The
This fucking guy's based as fuck.
gaming industry is driven by
This is it,
profits,
it's what we're
and as
talking
long
about.
as these practices are profitable,
This is what
the
we're
major
talking about.
publishers will continue to use them. Let's
That's
be
right.
honest and real with ourselves. Many of us have bought into these mechanics in the past, whether we have liked them or not. Things like loot crates, battle passes, paid cosmetics, and even DLCs launched on day one have become staples of the AAA gaming industry. We see this across the board, from first-person shooters to sports games. Every time we buy a battle pass, purchase a cosmetic skin, or support a game with these tactics, we're signaling to developers that this business model
That's right.
works. Take
Yeah.
EA, for example.
That's spot on. That's the only way we're gonna fix this is with our wallets. Is not purchase. Don't purchase.
Which pretty
And then that's where they're gonna switch up their tactics.
much has a monopoly on football games through their FIFA franchise, which is now called EA Sports FC. Despite years of player
Yeah.
complaints
It's
about
almost a
aggressive
monopoly, isn't it?
microtransactions, especially in Ultimate Team, the game continues to sell millions of copies annually. Why? Because football fans want to play football games, and there's no real alternative. Even though there's a ton of backlash against EA's decisions, the football gaming community keeps buying into it. And as long as those sales numbers are strong, EA has no reason to change its practices.
right.
This
That's
applies
right.
to so many other franchises as well. Big publishers know that they can introduce cash grab mechanics like microtransactions, and while they get some pushback online, the sales numbers prove that players are still willing to pay. Whether it's a battle pass in a shooter or exclusive cosmetics in a role-playing game, these systems are designed to exploit FOMO and to keep players
Yeah.
engaged long after they've bought the game.
He's
The
a spot
focus
on.
has shifted from creating an immersive, complete experience to keeping players in a loop of spending and grinding. And honestly, as long as the majority of players keep voting with their wallets, we can't expect anything to change. Sure, people criticize these models, and we have seen waves of outrage when something like a particularly egregious loot box system surfaces, but that outrage often doesn't translate to change. The truth is, these companies are driven by the bottom line, and as long as these mechanics are profitable, they will continue to exploit them. So if we
what
want to
it's all
see a
about.
real shift in the
It's the
gaming
money.
industry, it has to start with us, the players. We have to make more informed choices about where we spend our money and what kind of games and business practices we support. Otherwise,
100%
we're just
truth-based.
reinforcing the very trends that we're complaining about. If we want polished games, thoughtful character development, and fair, non-exploitative monetization systems, we have to be willing to vote for those with our wallets too. One of the best examples of this has happened recently, with Concord losing on $400 million and having to completely shut their
Probably
game
more.
down. Leading up to the launch of Concord, we saw people online saying, if you don't like it, don't buy it. This proved to both gamers
You see that sort of attitude. It's almost like what I was saying on the other stream. I was saying, this game's good, or earlier in this stream, can't remember. But this game's so good, this is the developers thing. This game's so good, it's got to be the players' fault that they don't like it. It's too woke, bro. No one wants that shit. Shut the fuck up.
and
Stop shoving your ideology down my throat.
AAA companies that players hold the power. After saying all this, and I'll end this the same as how I ended the last video, I am very grateful for the current climate of gaming. I'm having a lot of fun lately playing games developed by smaller game studios. There are still some AAA companies that listen to their fans, and it doesn't feel like they're driven by profit more so than wanting to make good games. Maybe they are
Yes.
driven by profit, but they understand that a good game that is loved by many equals more profit, which is something that I do
Exactly.
not
It's a
understand why
no-brainer.
other AAA companies haven't come
This
to
is it.
grasp
It's
with.
because they got fucking lazy, brother. You said it earlier. It's because they got fucking lazy.
I am going
Yeah.
to end this video there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I've
Deserves a
really
sub.
enjoyed having this conversation with you guys. I'm definitely going to be making more videos going forward. I've discovered something I enjoy and I'm going to just jump on it. If you enjoyed this video
Brilliant.
and would like to see more from this channel, please subscribe below, and I hope you guys have the most amazing day.
Legend. Yeah, man. Absolutely spot on. Let me have a look at this little clip here, and then I've got to bounce, fathers.